You know, Detroit actually looks a lot better when you're looking at it from up here. Man, what a wild first season. I thought it was going to be easy coming in here. Me, Sammy Crooks, the new GM of the Detroit Pistons. And then I met the coach, Stan Van Gundy, and his ridiculously deep voice, and well, he didn't have nice things to say about our point guard.
This team cannot win with Brandon Jennings as the point guard. It doesn't matter who he has around him, Sammy. Me and you both know that Brandon Jennings is a shoot-first point guard who would rather be on SportsCenter than actually be on a winning team.
Boy, did he hate Brandon Jennings, and he loved Josh Smith, and me, well, I disagreed. And Josh Smith, he has to play small forward on this team because, like you said, we have Monroe and Drummond, but he can't stretch the floor. All his scoring comes from inside the paint, but because of our big men, it's just going to be a logjam. Smith has no place in this offense at all. We should trade Smith and get a small forward who actually has a jump shot. Boy, that argument went on the entire year. But at least the one thing we did agree about was that Andre Drummond and Greg Monroe, that front court, should be what we invest in for the future. So then, of course, Drummond goes and tears a ligament in his hand in the third game of the season. Although, in a weird way, it ended up working out for us because we traded Charlie Villanueva and the draft pick we have this year for Taj Gibson. I still have no idea why Chicago made that move. But Gibson, he was great for us. He was the defender and the rebounder that we knew he was, but he was also a timely mid-range shooter, and that's going to be great moving forward for him to come off the bench for us. And when Drummond was out, well, some guys played well and others didn't. But Monroe, he showed us that he's a big man that we can invest in long term. But we did have our ups and downs, and well, when things got bad, Coach was very vocal.
Just leave him open, who cares? Yeah. See, this is what happens. This is what happens when you don't care. You just got blown out on your home floor.
But he did praise them when they deserved it as well.
Oh, nice pass. Hit that Yarekbo. Nice play. That's good offense.
And about a month and a half later, when Drummond finally did come back, it was obvious he was our best player. I have to be honest, I thought the only time he was going to score was when he was dunking the ball, but he looked very comfortable scoring from the low block. Now, don't get me wrong, he was still throwing down on dudes. And he was definitely the defensive player we needed. But at the end of the day, it always came back to Smith or Jennings. Who do we trade? Who is the cancer of this team?
Brandon is the one hurting this offense. It takes him forever for us to actually get into something, and by the time he starts moving the ball, there isn't that much time left in the shot clock and we have to take a bad shot.
Oh, come on, Coach. You know he's been making plays for his teammates.
Well, those plays are few and far between, Sammy. As for Josh, he's doing what's asked of him. He gets into the paint and he finishes well.
Finishes well? The only thing Smith is doing is forcing himself into the paint, which draws Monroe and Drummond out from getting offensive rebounds.
And the only thing Jennings is doing is proving to me, once again, that he does not know how to play point guard. We have to trade Jennings.
And at the heat of the argument, we got some interesting news.
Sammy, you read the message. Monroe doesn't want to be here.
Man, it still kills me thinking about it. Greg Monroe wants to get traded. God, him and Drummond could have been the best front court in the NBA, hands down, but Monroe wanted to be a center, and, well, it's just not going to happen with Drummond here. It's too bad. What could have been? The trade talks were something else. We looked at Chandler Parsons, Aaron Aflalo was available at one point, Wilson Chandler almost happened. We're lucky we even got a deal off, but eventually the Knicks came with Iman Shumpert, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Andrea Bargnani. I tell you, it's a lot better than what we would have settled for. We also managed to get Rodney Stuckey out of here, which was great because he didn't do anything. And Smith at the power forward position, I have to admit he won me over because he just started bullying guys in the paint. As far as the new guys, well, Shumpert was athletic as we always knew he could be. Tim Hardaway Jr. definitely has an eye for the offensive side of the floor. And as far as Bargnani, we were able to trade him this offseason, get a lot of salary freed up. And that turned into Trevor Ariza, who was going to fill a hole, and also Spencer Hawes, who's going to make for a great backup front court with him and Taj Gibson. We also managed to draft Doug McDermott and Adrian Payne because we had the Knicks pick. And although we didn't make the playoffs, I think we're going to be a team that everybody's going to be looking for this year. We're going to creep up on some people. Well, it's time to get started. Why the hell am I talking to myself? Nobody's even listening.